Well, hello and welcome to the View Behind Blue Eyes. And today, carpetbaggers. And there's a weird name, and the reason I'm saying that is because I'm currently standing on the edge of what used to be RAF Harrington. I'm actually at the memorial for the Air Forces, the 801st United Air Force, or the Carpetbaggers, which was their nickname, used to operate from this airfield during the war. Now, RAF Harrington opened for operation in 1942 and continued in operation till the end of the war, where it still remained technically an airfield, but was kind of scaled down a bit until around about 1952, when the US, it still has a US field, deployed Tomahawk missiles from here. When I say deployed, they didn't actually ever deploy any, but they were based here. So they built up these big flash screens, which you used to be able to see from the road. I haven't seen any at the moment. Maybe we'll catch up. Maybe we'll get to see one in a bit as we travel around. I don't know. And they were the launch pads for these Tomahawk missiles. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm at the memorial, so let's have a look at the memorial. So, if you want to find this memorial, if you travel through Lamport towards Harrington, it's about halfway along before you get to the turning that takes you down to Harrington Airfield Museum, which hopefully we'll go down and have a look in a bit, if it's open. I've got a sneaking feeling it's not open today though. So RAF Harrington, obviously we had the RAF also used it occasionally, but it's mainly where the United Air Force would fly B-17s out of, and they were known as the Carpetbaggers. So the 801 and the 492 Second Bomber groups. The Carpetbaggers, what they did during the war was they would fly night missions and drop supplies to resistance fighters in anti-occupied Europe. And they also parachuted in and landed OSS agents into Belgium, Denmark, France and the Netherlands. I'm reading this off the top of this thing, but you know, and espionage activities. So this was quite active in helping the war effort. Let's have a little walk around the memorial. So, United 8th Air Force Station 179 Air Base. There you go, different squadrons. Uh, 801st, 492 Second, Bomber Group H, Carpetbaggers. Having read this, I can see that it says 208 American aircrew gave their lives during flying from this airfield. 208. Doesn't sound like a lot. In the scale of things, 208 individuals that served their time here and never returned to their home. 208 individuals, families that were forever affected by the way they lost their loved ones. Oh, a little bit of America in England, a little bit of America in Northampton. Several airfields in Northampton. Hopefully we'll visit what remains of the ones. I don't think there's any active airfield. There are airfields that are still in use, but not active for military. Most of the locations are shut down, but we'll at some point visit them all. If you ever come here, there's a little map that tells you where to find Harrington Aviation Museum, just behind the memorial. And then over there in front of us, in front of the memorial, is the actual airport site itself. There's some information on a board That tells you exactly where you were. So looking at this little map, so this little dot says we're here, so this is where the memorial. So actually the airfield ran through here. So this road ran through an airfield. This road that's running here, but the airfield was actually behind us as well. So that's one of the runways. So sort of from that corner across there, one of the runways, and literally behind us here it says bomb store. That's interesting, isn't it? So over here behind these troughs, this area here, see this concrete down. I wonder if this was part of the airfield. Does look pretty old. Oh, there you go, look, there's the runway. I wasn't expecting to see that. That is the runway that I just pointed out. I didn't think there was that much left. So, and to that side, in that area, was what was known as the bomb store. Blimey, I hope there's no bombs there now. That'd be something, wouldn't it? So yeah, that is actual runway. So yeah, so I'm guessing actually the bit that we're standing on here is actual runway as well, and would have gone straight across there, straight through where the gate is, across the fields. Go back to the map. I'll just point it out to you. Just there. Incredible. Well, let's move on and see if we can find anywhere else. So, looking from the memorial over, can get like a bloody speed trap down here. The cars run down here. So over towards the fields. So literally opposite. Yep, this was the airfield. Literally opposite. It used to stretch between Harrington and Drowton, or triangulated off by those two villages. So you would go up that way towards Harrington and turn off. There's a turn off towards the museum up there. We'll have to drive down there shortly. And back that way towards the turn for Drowton and Lamport. It's hard to believe that my father used to pedal down to the airfield, which is situated on now agricultural ground, because when they gave up, when the airbase closed in 1963, by 65 it had been returned to agriculture. There's a few odd buildings around to see. In fact, sort of there's one just here, a red brick building, part of an old red brick building. God knows what that was. Could have been anything. Could have been dormitories. Could have been anything. Could have been just storage. But yes, so 1965, it was finally decommissioned. It was closed in 63, but it was finally decommissioned, given back to agriculture. Effectively, it was just ploughed up and then turned into agricultural fields again. But as I was saying, my dad used to pedal down here with his mates when he was a nipper during the war. We weren't very old, between 8 and 10. He used to pedal down here towards the planes fly in and fly out. I used to count them out, and he used to count them in, and hope that they'd all come back. The Yankee, the American airmen, which we call them Yankee as well, the American airmen were quite kind to the local children in all the villages. They used to arrange little parties for them, and in fact they used to really adopt them quite well, because they used to give them chocolate and sweets. Especially they would have, like my dad used to say to me, that we actually had our own personal American. That one would be mine, he would give me sweets, and that one would be his mates. So they would all come down here, and hopefully their friends would have returned from their missions, and they would, cash in on sweets as kids do. So yeah, the airfield. Hopefully you can see that building. So it's a busy road. There's a lot of cars on it today. as is my want, and the wind's blowing, so hopefully you can hear me over the wind as well. Okay, so what we're going to attempt to do is try and drive down the side of the airport and towards Drelton, and let's see if we can see anything. The airfield is on the right, or what's left of it. Certainly very agricultural, that's for sure. Can't see anything really. And here's the turning for Drelton. This is quite a narrow lane, so I've got to watch it when I go down here. But yep, so here we are, looking across the airfield. Just see by that tree line there's a building of some sort, a couple of little buildings of some sort, obviously remains. What I'll do is there's a little pull-in just there. Just put in. So I've just pulled up at the side of the lane and marked out the bridle path. But actually, we're on the airfield, and this piece of concrete would have been part of the airfield as well. I'll just have a quick walk along here and see if there's anything to be seen at all. The thickness of that slab. It's all broken up, but US Army slab. Put down in large square slabs. Suppose if you've got a B-17 running over the top here, it's got to be pretty good, hasn't it? Like I say, most of it was returned to agriculture, but there are a few remnants. I think that's the nicest way of putting it. Remnants of the airfield. Not very many, but a few. And this track, which I'm not going to walk the whole of it, appears, this bypass, or byway, which they're now calling it, appears to run the whole length of it. And it probably runs right across the airfield. And it's still here. I wonder if it's part of the old runway system. Possibly. Anyway, let's go back to the car and continue on. So yeah, looking across the airfield over there, well, across this airfield towards that tree line in distance, that's where the memorial was that we just left. Anyway, let's get back in the car and carry on. Let's just leave the pull in and carry on down the side of the runway towards Drelton. So all of this to the right forms up part of the ground that was Harrington airfield. So I better watch what I'm doing down here, it's quite narrow. Here we are, Drelton. Well, isn't a fabulous amount left. I know that the blast screens are still out there somewhere, because at the end of the 90s there was a need to preserve relics from the Cold War, and you know, Tomahawk missiles are pretty much a relic of the Cold War. And what we'll do then is we'll turn around. I won't film it, but we'll turn around and we'll actually head down and see if the museum's open. So I'm on my way to Harrington Airfield Museum, and actually we're around the back end of the airfield now, still on the right and still looking down. I've just got to pull over because this is a very narrow road. Can't let that car past. And yeah, so this would be form the back end from where the War Memorial is, looking over the field. This would form the back end of the airfield. Anyway, let's head towards the museum. So this is looking over the airfield. You just make out a small square building out there, which may be the remains of some of the old buildings, some of the outposts, lookout towers, whatever, pillboxes. Hopefully you can hear me above the traffic of the A14, which is directly behind me. So out in front of me, if I turn you, this is the fields. So this is basically what you see here is the airfield. Or, you know, after 1953, in 1955, it was returned to agriculture. So all this in the distance, this is the airfield. And we're not a million miles away from the Aviation Museum. I'm not sure if it's open today, but we'll go and have a look and check it. So I'm actually at the museum site. So this was actually the administration blocks for RAF Harrington. Unfortunately, I picked a rather silly day. It's closed. I'll turn you around. So this is it. So this is the museum site. So there's a model of a Tomahawk missile there that was used. They were based here from 1950s up until 1963, when they were finally removed from the area. But yeah, these buildings here are probably the only buildings that fully remain of RAF Harrington, and this was their admin block. There's a museum. So it looks like, yeah, I'm a few days too early, unfortunately, but never mind, we'll come back when it's open. And yep, it's one of those things. But there you go, for this video, this is what we can see. So a few buildings, Tomahawk missile, you can see a Nissan hut over there, air raid shelter, yeah, carpetbaggers. This is probably where the only place where their legacy still remains, other than the guys or the relatives of the guys that are obviously out in the States. Well, you know, museum behind me, can't win them all. It's a lovely area. I'll come back one day and do the museum. The views are amazing, but this is the view beyond blue eyes. Thank you for watching.
Talk to me, Goose.